Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Von Stitzelkrom, you can call me Jordan, and today I am ranking the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. S all the way to F. You know, I've seen them all. I jumped on this bandwagon well before the Iron Man came out. I've been loving comics. Used to go to a store in town, in this small rural town, where they had some comics. Couldn't afford to buy them, like, you know, growing up peasants. The owner knew that I couldn't buy them, but he was still really cool and just let me try to power out a comic on the spot. And even that was pretty hard at times because young kid, I have dyslexia. Reading, I don't think I could put a proper sentence together until like grade 6, nearly grade 7 actually, when it came to reading. But I could kind of pick out some words and the pictures. It was just like, oh yes, I love this. And then when Iron Man got announced, that trailer, oh man, it got me. It got me in all the right places. So I have seen all these movies. I've just watched Black Widow. It was interesting, I'll say that. Black Widow's not on the list, so let's just jump straight into it. We'll start off with the F tier. Right. F tier, what failed for me? Personally, I wasn't a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. That movie has like 2 cool moments and that's it. It was such a letdown after the first one. The first Guardians was amazing. Yeah. The one cool scene on Guardians 2 was Mary Poppins Jarl, and then when he's saving Peter's life and he's like, he may have been your father, but I'm your daddy. Those 2 moments, the only moments that were enjoyable in that movie. And the when the Avengers gave the lights right at the end. But besides that, the rest of it is just 2 hours of not very enjoyable, in my opinion. Iron Man 3. I don't know how they did it, but they spent, 2.5 hours of a movie trying to keep him out of his suit. It was like, so annoying. It was so annoying to watch. It was just like, why? And the way that they handled the Mandarin, sorry. Yeah, not a great fan of that either. Ben Kingsley should have been the Mandarin, and they should have made that and went along with it. And it's weird because they made that 10 Rings special a while ago where it was like him in jail, and it kind of hinted at him becoming the leader of the 10 Rings. But then with the new movie that's coming out this year, that's kind of rewritten that whole segment. So, you know, those 2 movies, just huge flops for me. Didn't enjoy them in the slightest. But, yeah. Alright. Let's get into some movies I actually did enjoy. I'm going to leave the Avengers ones till last. Ones I did enjoy. Honestly, Winter Soldier. What a movie. Winter Soldier was nearly perfect in my books. And it pretty much paved the way for every other Marvel movie and the whole storyline then. Yeah. Like, what the Russos did for that movie pretty much, it crafted every other movie after that one. And this was so good. The story was brilliant. It's like, oh my god, SHIELD has been infiltrated. It's like this whole organization that you think is this amazing protective service that have been infiltrated the whole time by Hydra. And Hydra's been these sneaky little buggers the whole time, and it has these little callbacks to the senator that's a part of Hydra, that's the guy that's given Tony Stark shit in Iron Man 2. And it's just like, whoa, this is... Now I'm starting to understand how big Hydra have all been, and how everything that they've done is just been hidden and executed nearly to perfection. They were so close to getting away with it. And the story that developed from Steve and Bucky, it was great. And you could see Steve like so conflicted with everything that's going on, with Bucky and him not believing it because he knows Bucky, and it was just in the reveal. It was really, really good. It was really cool. I can remember the trailer even now when Cap busts through the glass on the rooftop and he launches his shield, and just Bucky turns around, or Winter Soldier turns around, bang, grabs it. It's just like, whoa. It was so good. And the whole storyline with Nick and Natasha, it was so good. And then bringing in Falcon, and you see Falcon and Steve instantly have this connection, and you're like, this is a strong bond. And they take that bond and they carry it through every other film that they're in, and they really solidify that the Falcon, sorry, just had this massive brain heart. Well, Sam and Steve are like brothers, the way that's Bucky and Steve were back in the 40s. It was just, the movie was perfect. The action, the fight choreography, the storyline, everything flowed, and the story was so strong and so successful. After the first Captain America movie, people were like, yeah, okay, maybe. But this one, wow, it was an amazing film. An amazing film. Definitely one of my favourite, and I think one of the best MCU movies out there. Absolutely beautiful. What else? Let's, you know what? Unpopular one that I know. Ragnarok. Meh. I appreciate the comedy in it. Really enjoyed the comedy. I didn't really get behind the story, to be honest. It was, yeah. I don't know, for me, it just didn't connect. I think it's just because of this stark contrast from the other Thor movies and all of his other portrayals in the other movies. And I get that they've made this little shift, and Taika Waititi came in, and Taika Waititi is one of the best, one of my favourite directors at the moment. Absolutely smashing it with what he's creating, and it's awesome. And saw the style, and I enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else. Like, there's huge hype around Ragnarok, and people fucking loved that. But yeah, it was, Odin just was like, I'm sick of these plays, fuck it. And he leaves, and then Hela comes out of nowhere. She's like, I didn't like how that all played out, really. The whole, Odin was like, yeah, no, I've got a daughter, the goddess of death, and we fuck shit up, and now we run the place. But I think I made her a bit too evil, so I better lock her away. And then he's like, I'm so tired from keeping her trapped, I'm just going. See ya. And then shit goes down, and yeah. And I remember I know it's really got nothing to do with the movie. It doesn't affect the way I've ranked it. I remember being so angry that in the trailers they showed the Hulk. Can you imagine if they kept that shit out of the trailers and it was just like, and you saw that when you went and saw it, and you're like, the Hulk is in this? Holy shit. Oh man, trailers sometimes ruin movies. And I have the same thing for The Phantom Menace. Even though the movie was trash, when in the trailer when they showed Darth Maul with the dual saber, that should have been saved in the movie, in my opinion. Okay, sorry, let's get back to this. Okay, what else? Incredible Hulk. It was okay. I didn't really feel Norton as the Hulk. Story was pretty decent. The type of Hulk, he was too ripped. Like, you could see the muscle fibers in his like pecs and his arms. He was just a bit too ripped. But yeah, like, you know, I don't really have too much negatives or really many positives either. So yeah, it was okay. Civil War was great. It was really good, actually. Civil War was really good. The way that they incorporated that twist where you find out that Steve knew about the death, or the murder, I should say, of Tony's parents. In that moment, oh god, my heart broke, because it's like, that's it. And Zemo was so good in that. He's everything was to a dime. It worked perfectly. It was exactly what he wanted to do. He achieved it. He was like, I'm ready to kill myself. I've achieved my goal. And he fucking nailed it. It was so good. It was so clever, the writing as well. And this really good give and take of Steve choosing between Tony and Bucky. And fuck, it gutted me. Absolutely gutted me. And Steve chose Bucky, and Tony's just, after everything they've done, everything that they've been through, everything they've accomplished, Steve just turns his back on all of it. It's just, oh god, it's man. Actually, you know what's up in there as well, because no one expected it. I didn't, and I loved it. Guardians, when it got announced that they were making it, people were like, who the fuck are these guys? No one cared about them. And when they said, you know, Chris Pratt's going to be the lead, and people were like, the dude from Parks and Recs? What? And I remember there was this huge stigma of like, who the fuck's going to watch this? And then they got this lineup where it's Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, Michael Rooker, Vin Diesel, Dave Bautista. Like, they got a really, really good cast. And James Gunn, the guy who knows how to make things funny. And one of the things I loved about it, and it kind of reminds me of Edgar Wright movies, his way he incorporates music into movies, and especially in this one. The Guardian soundtrack is amazing. It is so good. It's so good. I absolutely loved the soundtrack for this movie, and I think that plays a big factor into the whole vibe of Guardians. It's just such a fun, powerful, heartfelt movie, and there's these great little moments of comedy where it's just like, we're having a dance off, bro. What? But there's a reason for everything that happens, and it's just, I love it. Oh man, I think I'm getting myself too caught up in all this. I could talk about this stuff for hours. Okay, let's focus back into it. First Captain America, Yeah, Hugo Weaving was the best thing in that movie for me. I think Hugo is just this epic actor that can hold this stoic face that just you feel a presence when you're looking at him, and he just I can't explain it properly, but Hugo Weaving is just amazing in Capped. But yeah, the whole story, the thing that really took it out for me was that whole 20 minutes or so where he's Capped, he's buff Cap, he's super Cap, but he's on the show, like he's doing the support troops show thing. He's not actually a captain. He's not saving the people. Like that 20 minutes there, it really took me out of it. It was like, ugh, God, this. After everything that they went through to make this guy, all they're doing is making him a show pony. It killed a big chunk of that movie for me, and it was hard for me to come back to. Okay, what else do we have here? What else? We can chuck that in there. Really, no questions or comments need to be thrown in there. It was just it was hard. I'll put the first Thor there. Yeah, it wasn't great, but it set up. The thing I like about it is how much it sets Loki up. And Loki is such a big part of everything that happens in MCU. I really liked how they set Loki up, and I like how they show this egotistic asshole Thor. I love that, where it's just like, this motherfucker thinks he's the king of everything and he can destroy everything, and his world comes crashing down, and he doesn't know how to handle it, and he gets banished because of it, because he acts like a child. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a someone that grew up in a very, very lower class house. I don't know. I feel a bit of love when I see privileged people have their comeuppance. Maybe a really asshole thing to say, but I love it when that shit happens. Homecoming. I loved Homecoming. Homecoming made Spider-Man feel like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is... Even though I have a Deadpool tattoo, Spider-Man is my favourite comic superhero character. The great thing about Spider-Man is that he was... Everyone else has been portrayed as these super buff, super smart, just adults of pure muscle and strength and brawn, and you got the Hulk, super strong, Thor can do anything, Captain America, buff, like all these guys, and Spidey is just a kid who's been struggling. He lost his parents, he's had to deal with shit, and Spidey's like the character that most kids can connect to, because they're scrawny, they're nerdy, they get bullied, people don't look at them, like they've got the crush on the girl, and the girl never knows about who that person even is. Like, Spidey is so relatable that it's just... I loved it. And that was the thing that made me not enjoy as much the other 5 Spider-Man movies at this stage. The 1 to 3 Sam Raimi ones, and then I can't remember the director, but the Andrew Garfield ones. This one felt like Spidey was like proper Spider-Man, like true origins. Like, he's at school, he's the nerdy one, he gets bullied, like he's just, I don't know, it felt like that's what it was like in the comics. And I think Tom Holland's performance of it, even the way he talks and his mannerisms, it's so good. I think it was spot on Spider-Man. super enjoyed Homecoming. I thought it was really, really good. And I love the relationship that they made between Tony and Peter. Oh, man, because it's... Fuck, man. I cried so hard in Infinity War with that. Okay, yeah, before we get to Infinity War. Okay, let's go... Ant-Man. Ant-Man. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. I didn't think much of Ant-Man as a character, and I was just like, oh, yeah, here we go. Like, we'll see how it plays out. And then Paul Rudd nailed it. Michael Douglas nailed it. Like, everyone... Michael Pena? Or Penner? Oh, man, he was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did. A lot more comedy than action, which I think is understandable for MCU plus Paul Rudd. But that whole on the train, toy train sequence battle is hilarious. And the visual effects, the suitcase fight in the helicopter near the end there, special effects in that is amazing. It's so smart, so clever. It was just brilliant. Okay. I'm in 2. Yeah. Mickey Rourke killed it for me. It was just not a good Whiplash. I liked Don Cheadle coming in and taking over. Didn't really fell Terrence in Iron Man 1. There was a lot I really liked about this, but Whiplash really meh for me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put that there. Yeah, because I think Iron Man was a great standard, and there's definitely... Iron Man's in the middle for me, because there are movies that are definitely below it, but there are definitely movies above it. And I think he's a good middle ground, because it was the very first movie. He kind of set a certain standard, and some dropped below, some exceeded, like I was saying, but wow, what a breakout. The movie that made RDJ who he is today, and Jon Favreau is, oh man, he's the guy that people, how do I say this? Let's say 20 years ago when you heard, well, let's say 30 years ago, if you heard a movie was coming out by Spielberg, you were watching it. People were watching it because they're like, Spielberg's got the name to it, we've got to watch it. And that happened for a long time. Same with Tarantino, actually. If you hear a movie coming out by Tarantino, there's a good chance you're like, fuck, I enjoyed the other ones. Yeah, this is going to be really like in your face and impactful. Jon Favreau. I have enjoyed every single one of his movies. Absolutely loved them. One of my favourite movies that he done was called Chef. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's pretty light-hearted. Very powerful in the story, but it's just a beautiful movie, and it's well shot, it's well directed. What Favreau's done for Star Wars and The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, perfection. And for what he done for the MCU, he was he's the godfather of MCU, really, and he's turning into that guy for Star Wars as well. It's awesome. Him and Filoni in Star Wars is just perfect. Okay, let's go Black Panther. It might get some hate. I understand the symbolism and how important this movie was to a lot of people. I understand that. For me, movie-wise, the action scenes, I think, were the biggest letdowns. I don't think I really was like in shock and awe in any of the action. It was, pretty mediocre, to be honest. My favourite thing in Black Panther was Killmonger. Awful name, but Michael B. Jordan slayed that character. Does such a good job of it, but Chadwick does a great job as well. Shit, now I'm thinking about it. The actor's done really well. Andy Serkis was awesome. I love Andy Serkis, but for an action movie, that action was pretty trash. Yeah, look, okay, it's awesome story, really bad action. It's above average, but if the story was not as good as it was, it would definitely be lower on my list. The storyline, great. Action sequences, didn't enjoy them at all. Who else? Captain Marvel. Yeah. Meh. I don't know what to say to it. To be honest, it was meh. That's how I felt watching it the whole way through. Was meh. I actually really like Brie Larson. She's really good in United States of Tara and the what movie was it called? The Room. She won an award for The Room, and she deserved it because that performance was amazing. But this, meh. I can't really say much else to it, but meh. Okay, we haven't touched Avengers yet. Spidey Far From Home. For me, again, it's Spidey, so he's going to be up there for me. But the thing is that they still made him as good as the first one. The thing I loved about this is how they interpreted Mysterio. When I heard Mysterio was going to be the main villain in this movie, I laughed. I was like, how the fuck are they going to make the fishbowl head a bad... I didn't like Mysterio, in the comics. I thought he was just a meh character that someone just ripped up out of nowhere for the sake of it, but the way they done Mysterio and Jake Gyllenhaal was so good. I loved it. Those manipulation sequences, those moments where it's like he's Nick and then he's not Nick, and then no, Nick has saved him, and then no, Nick hasn't saved him, and it's still him, and he falls in front of the train. Like, that whole 10-minute sequence is just pure perfection. And the way that they introduce the Spidey sense, or the Peter Tingle, with this, it makes perfect sense. It's like he trusts his senses, like he's trusting himself, to defeat, like to know what's going on when it comes to Mysterio, because you can't trust what you're seeing or what's going on around you. And it was so good. It was so clever. And the whole Edith glasses, it was so good. It was such a good movie. I think they executed it perfectly. Nearly perfectly. Compared to others, it's very, very close. Okay, before we get to the Avengers, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wasn't my favourite. I understand the purpose of it, but it felt like it was a bit of just a quick movie just to get the understanding of the quantum realm into the whole universe. It helps set up other events coming up. It's just, it felt like the villain and the story of it was just, yeah, I didn't love it. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. It's a good middle ground. Doctor Strange. It's a slow burn, being honest. I think Doctor Strange was, the first bit was a slow burn. It was hard to just like push through, but once it got to the second half of the movie, it picked up, and it visually looked amazing. Oh my god, that whole kaleidoscope effect that they brought into the movie, and it was really, really cool. It was a fun movie to watch on the big screen once it hit the second half. First half, I get it, character development, you know, you got to show the pain, the break, the regroup, the train, all that. Like, I understand all that. I get it. Yeah, just, it's a slow burn. Probably half hour a bit too long for me personally. Okay, so Avengers time. No, yeah, first Avengers, wow. The first Avengers movie, it's probably the one I've seen the most, and things I love about it, it was unheard of. Like, the whole process of what happened of how many movies at this stage? 6 movies, I think, before the Avengers? I can't remember. There's a lot of movies before Avengers, and people were scratching their head like, how are you going to have all these top, like these A-listers on screen together? How are you going to make it work, guys? How are you going to make this story work? And it was just, oh man, Kevin Feige, he had this vision for it, and they pulled it off. And and they called Joss Whedon in to do it, and to Joss's credit, he killed it for this one. It was so good. The assembly, like the way that they have the failure for each individual one, like on the helicarrier, and it's just like, oh my god, how are they going to do this? And then they're trying to battle independently, and they slowly start to team up, and they're like, right, okay, come on, we need to work together to win. And the story and the development of Loki as well in this movie was just, it was so good. It was like, there's so many things right with this movie, and I don't know if there's anything wrong with it. I honestly can't think of anything wrong with this movie. I loved it. I think I watched this movie with my best friend maybe 10 times, and I know he watched it way, way, way more. When this movie came out, my friend Sam was the biggest advocate for this movie. It was like he had someone over at his place watching it every night, someone different nearly every night, and just smashed it out. It's such a good movie. Oh, I love it. Okay, Ultron. I did not enjoy Ultron in the slightest. It's like, I had all this hype and expectation after number 1 and Joss Whedon, and then Joss made this one, and Such a letdown. I scratched my head when I walked out. I was like, how the fuck did that happen? It was the same. You had the same cast with some great additions. Scarlet and Quicksilver and James Spader as the voice of Ultron, and then I don't know how they did that. I don't know how. I don't want to talk about it either. It was crap. Okay, let's go. Infinity War. It has to be. Infinity War was perfection. I nearly want to make an SS class because there should be, because I feel like it could even be here. Alright, even though I can't put it there, it's SS. It's SS tier. The thing I was really worried about Infinity War was I thought they were going to please the people. And that had me concerned. Because the whole story is like, people need to die. There needs to be a consequence for this mad titan that's come through to clear shit up. They need to show that he is formidable. He is a danger. He is threatening. And the way that they started off is he takes a beat down from the Hulk and then kicks the shit out of the Hulk. And I was like, yes, that is exactly what should happen. And the way he just shit whips Thor around, and then he kills Heimdall immediately, and then he kills Loki, and it's like those two things right there in the first 10 minutes of the movie. It sets the stage of, this is a bad motherfucker. And he is. And I was really worried that it was going to be a people pleaser, and I was like, oh no, he might have beat them, but they're not. Nothing too bad has happened. I was like, no. The snap happened, and a ton of people left. And I was in the cinema, and I admit, tears. I had plenty of tears. I've invested many hours in these movies and the storylines and the Easter egg hunting and the reading the comics and all these other things. Like, tears. I was like, oh my god, they done it. They actually done it. And there were people in the movies, like, I heard some people like, well, they just ruined the whole thing. They killed people. Well, they just killed a whole bunch of, fuck this. This is shit house. I'm like, you don't understand. It's like, that needs to happen. There needed to be this apocalyptic event to show how powerful this guy is. Like, there had to be devastation for it to happen. And oh man, it was so good. It was so good. So good. I loved it. It was perfect. The only thing that upset me was when Gendry, Peter Dinklage's character, Gendry, where he's making Stormbreaker, he's got everything ready, and then he's like, oh shit, no, I don't have a handle. I was like, motherfuck, you didn't think of that? When Thor is offering to go get blasted by this star, you didn't think to have all the shit prepared and ready, because you can only hold it open for a certain amount of time. Like, god damn. It's like, Gah! But Groot saved the day, so it's all cool. And I made the axe bitching. Like, that Stormbreaker is so cool. So cool. And boom. I put Endgame as A for me. Some bits were okay. I think the thing that really bummed me out was Hawkeye. Clint Barton, they tried to make him Ronin, which is like a character he develops into in the comic books. They tried to do it, but then they started that pathway and then they kind of just dismiss it. And they try to link that into him and Nat are trying to sacrifice themselves, and he's like, I've done terrible things, and it's like, well, I don't know, it's just seemed a little bit shoehorned into the story of Endgame. I think it would have been, I think they needed to have a bit more of him. Like, there was the one scene, him in China or Japan, and he's just cut through everyone. I think they needed to show more of his pain and his anguish and the suffering that he's gone through because he lost everyone in his family. You see him have emotion later on when Natasha dies. But it's like, I wanted to see that emotion from, you've been dealing with your family, that like everyone, your children, your wife, your family have disappeared, and it's been 5 years of pain and anguish, and it's like, show us something serious about it. And they didn't really, for me. It didn't really hit home as much as I thought it would. But yeah, no, I like everything else in the movie. The whole, Red Skull's there, and Red Skull's in Infinity War, but everyone is in Endgame, and I remember the moment at the cinema, and it was a packed cinema, and no, I was actually in what we call like gold class, where it's like only 30 seats in the cinema, and your arms are like couches, like big lazy boy recliners, and they bring food out to you during the movies and all that jazz. So I was in one of them, and I remember like this group of us, we were all like chanting, and like we're like nearly high-fiving each other in the events that were going down at the end. And then an hour later, everyone is in tears, and we all just sobbed for like the next 10 minutes of where it shows Stark's funeral, and then Happy saying that he's going to look after, like, I'm going to get you all the hamburgers you want, all the cheeseburgers you want. And then Steve doesn't come back, he stays with Peggy, and it's just, and that song, and then those credits where it shows the characters and the signatures, and oh man, it was so good. So good. Holy shit, is that right? I've been doing this for 45 minutes. Wow. Far out. I am so sorry. I'll be surprised if anyone is still watching this at this stage. And so I just saw Black Widow. And Black Widow, if I was to put it on here, it's... Ooh. Okay, spoilers. Just, So, if I were to put Black Widow on here, it would be a B for me. The thing that really bummed me about this movie was Scarlett Johansson was probably the worst in this movie. I really struggled to have any connection to her in this movie at all. Yeah, I thought she was not good in it. The thing that saved the movie was there's a at the start of the movie it shows them younger, and the actress that plays young Natasha, Eva Anderson, it's Mila Jokovich's daughter. I think that's the chick that plays who does all the Resident Evil movies. Her daughter is Eva Anderson. It looks exactly like her mum as well. But she does an amazing performance in the start of this movie. And Florence Pugh, who plays Yelena, Black Widow's sister, adopted sister, she steals the whole movie. Everything that she's in, steals it. She craps all over Scarlett Johansson in the nicest way possible, but I think she made this movie successful. Absolutely killed it. Harbour, he was cool. Rachel Weisz, I actually thought she'd be in the movie a lot more. She's not in it that much, and even then, that's I thought she'd be more prominent, and she's not really that prominent. Harbour he's kind of good, but he's kind of like a write-off superhero. He's really not that great. The Red Guardian, he seemed pretty crap. And I think they underutilized Taskmaster. Taskmaster is actually a really cool villain, and they underutilized it a bit, I think. I think the thing they also really struggle with in the Black Widow movie, it's like they forgot that she is still a human. And she falls down like a 4 or 5 story building warehouse, and she's bashing herself on ventilators and ladders and railings all the way down. And she gets up and she's like, oh, yeah, no, bit sore, just carry on. It's like, fuck, come on. Bones would be broken. Car explodes an explosion happens underneath her in a car, and it rolls 5 times. And she's just like, ugh. Now you've made me mad, and I shoot better when I'm mad. I'm like, come on. You just can't. Ugh. You're still human. That's the thing that took it out for me. Is they made her a superhero without any powers, except her ability is to be able to survive any situation. That's kind of annoying. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Well, if you haven't seen it, you shouldn't have listened to this because I've probably spoiled a lot. But yeah, I recommend watching it and watch Florence Pugh or Yelena. She slays this movie. Absolutely slays it. Holy crap. Okay, I've done 50 minutes of talking, and I'm so sorry, and it's probably so boring for anyone. But hopefully someone out there has watched all of it. Let me know in the comments if you did. Let me know in the comments if you agree with any of this. Yeah, let me know. Let me know your movies that are S tier for you and F tier. I want to know what your worst and best are in your opinion. Guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. Really do appreciate it. I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.